Alright. Since so anxious to speak Nicholas, come with here, not offer.
Okay, good. Okay, great thing, ladies and gentlemen. Before I speak, I'd like to rebut a few points by the proposition. Mainly, the first point is that the proposition at this point clearly contradicted themselves. In the first speaker, I mentioned that the importance voting is a form of citizen of the country showing civic responsibility through participating in the vote. And then he said that this was a major problem in the people who refused to vote. However, the second speaker came out and said that clearly American citizens are patriotic enough. In other words, as we mentioned, as the first speaker mentioned, patriotism is a form of civic responsibility. Then why is it so many Americans, as we would say, still struggle with the concept of civic responsibility? Our belief is that the proposition's plan of offering money is not one that's likely to change the game. Because as they mentioned, traveling, Americans are, as the second speaker has mentioned, if Americans are willing to travel 3 to 4 hours, surely a voting booth just a far shorter distance from their home would surely reduce the point of having them vote. Yes.
Then do you think the cost of making more voting booths will be more expensive than our proposed policy?
Yeah, what we feel as our side opposition has said, as my first speaker has mentioned, there is a very high level of infeasibility in trying to pay out the money. Given that, as my first speaker has mentioned, 30% of the population is a huge number. So multiplied by the hundreds of money you intend to give to the tax rebates you intend to give to the people. What we are looking at is billions of dollars of bureaucratic nightmares, of people trying to file in, no thank you, of people trying to file in the tax rebates for having voted, and as such it will result in very endless troubles for the country in trying to balance out the tax rebates and increasing the budget deficit if everybody will take up the offer. Not only the budget deficit, there will also be troubles by employers trying to cope with the sheer amount of paperwork and e-work and taxation forms that they have to know, thank you, of taxation forms that need to be processed in the government in order for people to get their tax credits. What we will see is this a problem that will run out even after the election has finished, which we will say the gains would be very marginal. Now I shall move on to my main substantive. No thank you. Now I shall move on to my main substantive on how on the government side of vote by the opposition term is vote by. First, we feel that as Americans are very fully developed democracy, we would not want the country to return back to the days of politicians gerrymandering the votes by paying a tax rebate to get people to vote. We do not want to go into examples of. We do not want America to end up looking at. Yes.
Voting is a neutral process, and we say that these politicians are not going to generate just because they're going to give out money.
The main problem is what we do not like is the idea of people viewing America as a country where people are paying out politicians, where the politicians are paying out money just to get people to come into the voting houses. We don't want to end up like in the third world countries where for example in the Philippines, where people vote based on what the local councilman can give them. Okay, I'll give you a new TV, you vote for me. What we are not seeing in America is this. However, what we feel is that by this policy, the world will view America differently as being a country of one that has to reach the sorry state of having to pay its people to vote, thus completely destroying the sheer principles of democracy. And furthermore, if Barack Obama to implement this policy, no thank you. What will happen is that at this point, when he implements his policy, people start accusing him of being a vote buyer, of gerrymandering for the electoral votes. This is not something that you want to be unfortunately accused of. His good intention of luring people in, being viewed as a form of gerrymandering, as being a form of paying people to come in and vote for the Democratic Party. No politician want to be unfortunately accused of this. And then next, another problem is we end up having sending voter apathy the wrong voting for parties that they may not care for, just putting a tick on a box just to collect a tax rebate. Unfortunately, as the second speaker has mentioned, a 30% majority is a very huge one. So the 30% just put ticks in the wrong box. What you can see is a very unfortunate and drastic wrong shift in a country's direction. This is not something we want to see. What we feel is that at this stage, paying a voter out to help solve, paying voters to increase the voter turnout is not a good idea, as we do not want politicians to be and presidents to be mistakenly accused of gerrymandering. And we also do not want to see apathetic voters going in and just putting tick on boxes just for the sake of a few $100 in tax rebate. We feel that this will strongly disrupt the cause of the nation. What we feel is that we should go into what my first speaker has said, educate the people on the rights of liberties and the rights of true voting. So as this, we back to our post. Thank you.